on today's show.
Is Melo going to end up on the Lakers? Did Gobert deserve to be ejected? And are the Rockets a lost cause?
The Raptors, the Suns, Hassan Whiteside, who will take home worst of the week.
And Bam Bam brings it on both ends in this week's Top 10 Plays.
It's Friday, December 7th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to the starters. I'm J.E. Skeets. That's Tass Mellis. That's the Aussie Lee Ellis, and over yonder, well, that's the bearded one. That's Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! TK, what's up tonight?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters. And if you've been following the news in the entertainment world, then you know the Oscars have had a hard time finding a host for their next show. It's been a couple of months, though, so they got to get down to business, and we're here to lend a hand, which brings us to today's question. Which NBA player should host the Oscars? This might sound weird, but I think it's Allen Iverson. The guy's retired, so he's got some time to devote to this thing. It would be hilarious to see him up there in a t-shirt or a sweatsuit when everybody else is in their finest attire. And as we heard from the Players Tribune this week, Iverson is a real movie buff, which means he spends a lot of time watching all kinds of movies. He even included his top 5 movies, which somehow include Law-Abiding Citizen and Troy.
What?
So you know he has eclectic taste, but we want to hear from you. So let us know on Twitter which NBA player should host the Oscars. You could say Oscar Robertson, but we want to hear from you, so let us know.
All right, get your tweets in. Fun show tonight. We're going to hand out the dishonor for worst of the week. We got the best top 10 in sports. We got Lee's very solid play. But we start tonight here on Friday with a little true or false. There's lots to talk about. TK's got the true or false questions, and we will debate the answer. Take it away, my man.
The melodrama never stops because according to the Athletic's Joe Varden, sources say that LeBron James would like to get Carmelo Anthony to LA to join the Lakers. However, Varden also says that LeBron hasn't formally requested Melo's acquisition with the front office. True or false? Melo's going to end up on the Lakers.
What do you think?
I think it's true.
You think this will happen?
Yes, because I think at this point of LeBron's life, he likes to do a couple things. He likes to do good by his friends and his family.
Sure.
And he likes to demonstrate that he's got power in this league. Works on both fronts. Just get this guy on our team. Why the heck not? You want to show that you control this league. Get 2/4 of the banana boat there with you in LA. We can work on Wade. I think that's doable. Chris Paul's a little tougher.
Right.
And then you'll have 3/4. I think you can somehow wield in Chris Paul as well. That could happen one day. Let's stick with Melo. This is easy. Just get him there. Why the heck not? You got a bunch of one-year
Because he
deals
seems to
on
be
this
a
team.
bad luck charm, honestly. I mean, whether or not it was his fault that the Rockets were 4-6 with him and they're 6-7 without him, so I don't really think it was Melo's fault all that much. But the last couple stops have not worked out well with Melo in the mix because Melo's a scorer. But if he's struggling to score, then he's given up way too much on the other end of the floor. That's the problem. Like, I guess you can look at, is he better than like a Michael Beasley? That is, deep on the Lakers bench, very deep on the Lakers bench. And if that's the case, if you think Melo's better, and I do, I really do.
Melo's definitely
but is he
better.
fine with that type of role that Beasley's getting, which is not any role, really, garbage time minutes?
That's the question, is will he accept that role?
Right.
And so far he's shown a reluctance to do that. He did come off the bench in Houston there, but I think Melo still feels he can contribute more than just mop up minutes. But I honestly think that's the best situation for the Lakers that they can offer him right now. He can go to another team and probably find 20, 25 minutes and get some shots up. But if he really wants to go to a team that may turn into a contender, his role is going to be very limited because in that short time in Houston, again, it wasn't all his fault, as you said, but it certainly, he didn't do a whole lot of good for that team either. Defensive, he was just awful. Offensively, he had a couple of okay nights, but he had some terrible nights there as well. So at this stage of his career, unless he can truly adapt his game, like a Vince Carter, then there's not a lot of options out there for him, and not a lot of teams are really in the market for him either. I mean,
So is that why LeBron is doing this? Is that why he's putting this out?
well, he's not
To the
putting it
ether?
out, but he is putting it out.
No, it sounds to me like some people look at this as LeBron sort of helping Melo save a little bit of face
Well, if
here.
he wanted to help
like
his
no one
friend,
wants
he
him,
could
but
get him to
hey,
Los
he
Angeles
should still play, is what he's
straight
saying.
away. Yeah. But the thing is, I think Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka don't want to show that LeBron controls the team.
Yeah.
Those two, the guys, make the decisions on the team. LeBron, sure, he may be endorsing his friend, but if it looks like LeBron's pulling the strings, then that reflects badly on the management there in Los Angeles, and they don't want to give any sort of leverage to the fact that LeBron's the one who calls the shots there. Melo, look, he's only a young guy, relatively speaking. He can still contribute, but he hasn't shown really an acceptance where he would be like, I'll take whatever's on the table. He still wants to contribute more than he can.
This is LA, and I think they can sell it. They can sell it enough. You're right. In terms of basketball, hey, it probably won't work. But why not? Why not give it a shot if you're the Lakers? You can sell anything in LA. You know who can make it work? It is LeBron James, because he'll run over the competition and he'll erase Carmelo Anthony's mistakes, which there shall be plenty. I agree, it probably shouldn't have happened, but at the same time, it's LeBron, and he'll get what he wants if he does want it, if he did put it out there, if he kind of put it out there, if his agent put it out there, who knows?
Yeah, Melo can't be traded till December 15th. Anyway, if there is going to be a trade between the Rockets and the Lakers, if
Why
that were
would
to
you give
happen,
up an asset for
right?
the Lakers?
So you're saying just wait until he's potentially waived,
Yes.
and then you get to pick him up. That's in
yeah,
play. But look, if you're the Lakers, I wouldn't do this right now. I think maybe down the line we do see Melo join LeBron in LA. Not right now. They're 15-9. I think they're exceeding some expectations.
Melo's not getting younger, though.
So, but you just don't want to, even if you brought Melo in and he didn't even play a minute, but then you go on a losing streak, that's going to reflect badly on the Lakers front office. And unfortunately, again, Melo. Just having him there, people will go, well, you brought him in, now we lose games. Even if he doesn't even play a minute.
But this is the year of experimentation in LA to me. You got so many guys on one-year deals. Rondo, Beasley, McGee, Stevenson, KCP. Why not give it a shot?
Maybe.
For a little fun. I know it's not a good shot, but it's a little fun.
It's funny. All right, next one here.
Just for the record, I endorse all you guys as friends as well. But
okay,
thank you, Lee.
thanks.
Rudy Gobert, though, had a short night last night as he was ejected just 3 minutes into the Jazz's eventual win over the Rockets. The ejection came just a day after Gobert was fined for criticizing officials earlier this week, and just a few seconds after he smacked a bunch of stuff off the scorer's table. True or false? Rudy Gobert deserved to be ejected.
Okay. True.
For the incident that he got ejected for, which was
Smacking stuff
and
off the
talking
scorer's
to the
table.
referee.
Yes.
And really yelling at the referee,
Right.
demonstratively.
Okay,
Giving it to them.
Okay, I'll agree with that. But yeah, to getting to that point when he got called for a foul on the opening tip was bogus. I can't remember ever seeing this. I really, truly can't. How is this a foul? That
It's not a
happens
foul.
every NBA jump ball to start a game. There's contact.
Yep.
There's guys jostling. And if anything, they go, all right, well, let's just jump it again. Okay, cut it out. You guys are grabbing onto each other. Let's do it again. But he only got that foul, I truly believe, because the officials were wanting to send a bit more of a message to him, who had just complained, got the $15,000 fine for complaining about that game against the Heat on the weekend. And we talked about it here on the show with Gobert saying, call it fair both ways. He called them out.
Yeah.
And it cost him some money in his wallet. But they continued, they were targeting him here.
Yeah.
And then the second one wasn't a great call either. It was Harden flopping and being smart about it probably, that maybe the refs were seeking out another call on Rudy. So he did his Harden thing. There's some contact, sure. And then that's why he's so upset.
That one happens all the time.
Yeah, but that first one's insane.
The referee clearly came in with an agenda. No question for that first one.
Watch out. Roz Gold on Wood is just trying to do her job.
Yeah. I'm glad
But
she didn't get anything
that
out of
is
it.
very unprofessional, I think, that first foul call, and it's petty. Because you don't call that unless you are looking to call it, and as soon as you see any contact, you call it.
Yeah.
And the NBA officials need to come out and actually say something about this, because this is going to cause even more tension between players and officials if the officials are coming in and making ridiculous calls like that. Look, overall, the refs do a fantastic job. And the flop one, okay, that happens, bad call, whatever. But this one was someone coming in saying, I'm giving this guy a foul to send him a message. And that's wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And look, the referee was Courtney Kirkland. He, a year ago, remember, was the referee that got into it with Sean Stevenson.
Right.
Livingston, excuse me. And he was suspended by the league
Rightly
for, sort of going head-to-head with Livingston. Livingston got a game. And Kirkland was, told to take basically a week off without pay. I don't think that will happen in this case, but they should look into it.
Of course they should.
If he is really targeting Rudy Gobert here, should they not?
Well, it's very different in terms of what physically happened, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How do you look into that? How do you determine?
I get it. But do you think he targeted him?
Yeah, I think the referees.
And do you think that's fair?
Made it a point. No, it's
well-
not fair. It's not fair
No.
whatsoever. The fine was actually kind of light. I thought that he got $15K for that in the first place. But it's different than a headbutt, which I agreed with at the time. The suspension at the time sure made sense. Just to point out that talcum powder swipe. Hey, sorry, Trey, I'm taking the camera back for you for a second. The swipe with the talcum powder is so rare to see in the NBA. Somebody act out that way.
Yeah.
I think it's been sort of outlawed from the game. Just those acts of just.
Aggression?
Yes. Well, yeah, sure. Yes. A
Or
guy
the
throwing
powder
a monitor out to just those type of acts.
Yeah, no. Look,
It's
the
a good
weirdest
thing
part
in the
is-
NBA that we do not see that type of thing whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was so jarring to me to see that on an NBA floor. It just
Especially
does
after he
not
just
happen.
gave like a casual low high five to Derek Favors as he was checking out. Then he squatted and boom and knocked it all off. You're right. You don't see it often, and it was strange. I'm glad you pointed out, though, it wasn't just the hitting of the stuff onto the court or to the side of the court there. He was saying some things to the officials, and he was rightfully mad.
Yeah.
You pair those together, and then it's not really a shock that he
Again,
got
so the referee baits him, calls a bad foul on him,
yeah.
calls a second foul on him. The player has something to say, and then he gets ejected. That's the referee creating a bad situation.
I agree. All right, Trey, final one.
You can take my camera, but never smack my powder, please. Even without Rudy Gobert, the Jazz handled the Rockets pretty easily last night. They won by 27 while resting their starters for the entirety of the fourth quarter. The loss was Houston's 13th on the season. That's just 4 fewer than they had all last year. As Eric Gordon said, this sucks. True or false? The Rockets are a lost cause.
Now, lost cause is a very strong term. No, they are not. They're 1.5 games back of the postseason, but they look like an entirely different team this year. It looks very bleak, and the biggest thing to me is how much they've slowed down. I know we talk about them slowing the thing down and playing isolation basketball, but last year they were middle of the pack in terms of the pace, 14th. Now they're 29th. They're dead last. They literally stop. The Grizzlies are the only team that's slower than them. They literally stop every single possession. So, I sound a little like Charles Barkley right now, but get the pace going. I think they're just not in a rhythm. They have nothing going offensively because they are on a dead stop every time they start their offense.
Is a part of this possibly Chris Paul starting to show his age here a little bit? He has had a very, very bad year. And I thought maybe he had saved the Rockets season early. Remember that Nets game?
Yeah.
Where they apparently sort of had like a meeting together while the game was going on. And he had a big, big second half to get them that win, a much needed win at the time. And I thought maybe that will get him going. But not really. I mean, he's showing his age as a point guard that has a lot of miles on him.
The stats support the eye test out there as well.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that explosiveness right now. And he's a guy who's had a lot of leg and knee injuries throughout his career, and they may be starting to catch up with him a little bit. He can still kind of get to his spots, but he doesn't have that sort of decisiveness that he used to have where he could just go any time.
Are they a lost cause, though?
No, they'll be fine. There's still plenty of time. It's still early enough in the season to get things back on track. But they need some help, and they need to...
I was going to say, does a trade have to happen here? Does someone have to come in here? They have to shake things up?
Come save them, Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight's coming back. I know, no. That's unlikely to happen.
Okay.
But, it would be nice. It'd be a nice NBA story.
All right. When we come back, we're going to award the dishonor for worst of the week.
Welcome back to the show. We cover a fantastic league, but sometimes guys make mistakes. It's time for worst of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst of the week.
Second runner-up, Hassan Whiteside. It started off well Tuesday versus the Magic. He hit his first 6 shots, but unfortunately in the fourth quarter, Hassan Whiteside sat. It's becoming pretty commonplace for him not to play in the fourth quarter, 5 of the last 6 games, and he didn't stick around to see the end of it. 40 seconds left. He had enough. I'm done. Just walked off, and the excuse he gave afterward was he wanted to go to the bathroom because he had stomach troubles.
That's perfectly
I
understandable.
was going to say, the only thing worse than a worst of the week nominee is pooping your pants. So, smart move. Take the
you're
loss
enough
from
here either
Tass.
way.
Yeah, don't take the loss in the pants.
Way to go, Hassan.
Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, exactly. Hassan Brownside, I also
Well
say.
done. Really
But,
well done, everybody.
I don't buy it at all. Yeah, he's
No.
just angry. He's
No,
just angry.
he was moving a little too slow to be having stomach problems. IMO.
Well, some people say you got to move slow if you're having stomach problems.
Yeah.
That slow?
Well,
You don't want to jostle anything,
I don't
Taz.
know. You're right. He's not
40
playing in the
seconds left.
fourth quarter.
Look how slow he's
upset.
moving.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't get any slower than that. Whiteside, that was great. All right, first runner-up, the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors
What?
would say they're playing well.
Wow.
What are you talking about?
They give this man a permanent locker
An ambassador.
in the locker room.
He's
Yes,
the global ambassador.
he's the global ambassador. That is literally his locker in the middle of the locker room. It says the boy. That's his locker room
boy.
permanently. I listened to Inside the Green Room with Danny Green, his podcast today, to get the story. Kyle Lowry pushed for Drake to get his own locker. Now, he had already had stuff in the locker room previously. He was kind of already around.
Oh, okay.
So they decided to give him one. That's literally in the middle of the locker room.
Isn't it DeMar's old locker?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes,
I believe it is.
yes, it's right beside Kyle Lowry
Okay.
because they were buds. But at this point, Drake doesn't show up to a lot of games. He's no, that's a fact.
You're right.
No, you're right.
That's
He
a
doesn't
fact.
make a place to keep stuff. Just bring your jacket with.
This is one step closer to Drake actually
Playing for the Raptors.
At least being in the warm-ups like Kentucky. Right? And Danny Green was upset that it wasn't swaggerific enough, that it's Theboy. He wanted a da boy.
Oh.
Right.
in there.
Well, we can make that happen. I mean,
I don't
Get him a
know.
new name
change
plate.
the placard. It's not that hard.
All right, but the actual worst of the week are the Phoenix Suns because they literally have been the worst at basketball. This
Horrible.
Tuesday, they were down 36-9 after one quarter against the Kings. That's 27 points. All right, a bad night. Are they going to follow it up with a good one? No. Thursday, they were down 34-9 after the end of the first quarter, 70-18 total, 2 9-point quarters. That's the first time that's happened in back-to-back games in the shot clock era. And after that loss Tuesday, I didn't like the vibe of number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton when he was asked if the team could have came back.
You're down by that much, especially that early. There's no way you're getting back into the game.
This is the NBA. You can come back, number 1. Number 2, you got to keep it positive. You got to spin it.
Keep it
You
positive.
could say, we can do this. And unfortunately, the DeAndre Ayton has taken a back seat on his own team as the number 1 pick. He went to the bench on Thursday, and a lot of it is because of his defense. So a very bad start for a team that we expected to be very bad.
Yeah.
It,
It's even
Not
worse.
this
Not
bad.
this bad.
Yeah.
Not this bad. It's hard to be disappointed in a team you expected to be 15th in the West, but somehow we are.
There you go. All right. When we come back, we're going to count down the top 10 plays from the past 7 days in the NBA. Don't go anywhere. Back with the starters, where it's time to count down the top 10 plays from the past 7 days. Let's start at number 10. That makes sense. It's DeAndre Jordan. Inside on Leonard. Big dunk. That's an and one from DJ there. Put him right in the basket.
That's nice.
Big dunk.
Calm reaction.
Watch at number 9, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a little bully ball to a man who loves bully ball, Blake Griffin, pushes him out of the way and throws it down on him.
Gives him a little flex there too.
Yeah, that's Mario Hezonja's fault. Sorry, Blake.
Yeah.
Right, you angered Giannis.
Goodness. At number 8, we've got Monk going off the glass to Bridges, who's trailing.
Nice.
Kicks the feet up a little bit. Yeah, cocks it behind his head a little bit.
Seeing the dunk contest.
Yeah, I think we can almost lock that in at this point. Barring injury, he's got to be in this thing in Charlotte.
You would hope so.
He's had some great dunks
Yeah.
this year.
Watch this 6'10" man, Anthony Davis, the crossover.
Oh. And then the dunk.
And then the throwdown. Losing Frank Kaminsky.
See ya, Frank.
It's our 3rd and 1 here already in the top 10 plays. I see a theme. At number 6, we got a bunch of incredible fast break dimes. Marcus Smart on his back throws it ahead, and the Celtics finish it off in style.
I've seen that this week somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's right. Lee had it as a very solid play, even though it's very, very sexy and in the top 10.
It's solid.
Dunk, Lee.
Yeah, dunks are allowed at times.
Okay, we're still going with the fast break
bounce
plays
pass.
here. Markieff Morris over his head to Bradley Beal. Nice bounce pass. Whoa, just gets it home. Yeah, one more. We're not done. Throw ahead to Lonzo. Whoop! Mid-air. Dimes it up for McGee. A little showtime here from the Lakers. Some great passes this week.
At number 5, Andrew Wiggins. He's come alive. The throwdown.
Woo! Yep, I'm still on Wiggins Island, guys. There's not many people.
How's the weather?
It's cloudy,
okay
actually.
lately.
Yeah, the sun came out the other day.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And number 4, a little defense from the Wolves. Sir Robert Covington, yes.
Give me that.
Ties
Best
it
jump
up.
ball of the season, that one, maybe?
That is a beautiful block. That's clean. Yeah, get it. This guy is going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year.
Sure.
Steal and a block on that play, it looks like.
Huge play.
Nikola Jokic, speaking of huge, this man is huge. Look at that find.
Oh, where did we see this play?
Very solid play.
Yeah, that's
gotta
right.
be
Also, it's
kidding
very,
me.
very sexy, too.
You're stealing my bit now.
It's like, what's the point of very solid play if they're all very sexy? That's what I'm asking.
It's a good fundamental play that leads to a wide open shot. That's a very solid play.
At number 2,
Jeez, you think
Trae Young throws it up to John Collins. Where did we see this man earlier this week?
Yes, on the show, on this desk.
John Collins, a great
Got
guess.
the good starters bump. He had a great week.
It's a nice pass from Trae, nice finish from John.
At number 1, it's Bam Adebayo. Oh my goodness. The two-handed block.
Oh, we're not done here.
We're going the other way.
Kelly for 3, what a play.
Where's
Nope.
Bam Bam?
Woo! Wow.
That's a double ender, Lee. Very solid.
Does he get the 2 block?
No, I think it's just the one hand, but then he cleans it up.
Nice finish.
Bam Bam. In at number 1 on the top 10 plays of the week. Best top 10 in sports, some say. At least a lot of very solid plays. Back with the starters. High Tops plays of the month. Saturday at noon here on NBA TV. All right, we had a Woj bomb just before coming on the air. We got ourselves a reported trade. George Hill going to the Bucks along with Sam Dekker in exchange for Matthew Dellavedova, John Henson, and some future picks in 2021.
Interesting to me, the Bucks immediately become a player in this free agency right now.
Because they're going to be opening up some room.
They dumped some Bucks right there.
Yeah.
You know, with
Cash
Matthew
them out.
Dellavedova, John Henson, long-term deals. You can get somebody play along with Giannis. They have their own free agents to sign, but they're also got some freed up cap room.
All right, excellent stuff. Okay, we asked you, which NBA player should host the Oscars? You hit us up on Twitter, hashtag the starters. Trey got some answers.
Yeah, some good answers. Somebody says Marcus Smart because he loves acting. Got him. Shane says, how's about Little Penny?
Yeah.
Chris Rock hosted a few years ago, but I would accept Little Penny. My favorite answer, though, is from Jared, who says it's got to be Wally Zerbiak. Dude looks great in a tux, killer smile, and he's been a great supporting actor to many superstars. Sure, why not Wally Zerbiak
All right.
hosting the Oscars?
Let's start the hashtag. Wally Zerbiak for Oscars host. Okay, tonight's pick and play, Lakers Spurs. This one on League Pass. Trey and Lee got the Lakers on the road, and Tass and I taking the Spurs, who are struggling. Shout out to Cam Stewart with that struggling. Lee, very solid play.
Yeah, and a new category here from the Boston Celtic. It's the all-perimeter play. The ball does not go inside. It just keeps fizzing around and around and around until it finds Jason Tatum, who knocks it down for 3. That's what I call a very solid top 10 play.
No, I was going to say, we won't be seeing that one on the top 10. At least that's for true.
We had wedgie number 11 late
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yes.
squeezed it in, no pun intended. Grayson Allen, the stick.
Stick it.
It feels like there has been an uptick on wedgies
It's been
lately.
a good week.
Because there has been. There's 5 in the last 11 nights. We're now on pace for about 39 or 40 wedgies on
get
the year. We've really picked it up.
Drop podcast, it's up. We talk Mello, John Wall, Katie, Mr. Baseball, and we brainstorm ideas for alternative non-monetary fines to punish players.
You got to play in shoes that are just not your size.
Good one.
Yeah,
That's
you're
a
like
great
a size
one.
10. You got to wear Shaq shoes.
Yeah.
I think it's worse to wear small or big.
Probably small because it can really be
Uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Big because you could roll an ankle.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Take your pick. What if you had to play in pants? Because pants, I think, are weirder on a basketball court. Shorts are getting shorter.
Yeah.
People don't mind seeing Lee's legs when he's skating around here.
Oh, pants is good.
Yeah.
That's
Pants.
very funny. We got a fan sign.
This is from Ben in Hawaii, who's at an elevation of 9,700 feet, easily the highest fan sign we've ever had.
Excellent. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, we squeezed a lot into the show. Some say too much.
Go Atlanta United. Brace tonight, people.